Hi guys, my name is Adrianne Adams and this is my PowerPoint on cytology. Cytology is the study of human cells. Okay, so what is a cell? A cell is the smallest unit of life. Even though cells are like very small, they're responsible for everything the human body does. Human cells contain different structures called organelles, and each organelle has a specific job. Those organelles are similar to organs in the human body because they all work together to keep the cell alive and functioning properly. Next, I'll talk about the cell membrane. And this is the cell membrane. It acts as a protective barrier around the cell. It controls what enters and leaves the cell, and that includes nutrients, oxygen, and waste. And because of this, the cell membrane helps maintain homeostasis. And homeostasis means keeping a stable internal environment in the human body. Another important organelle inside the cell is the nucleus, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. Now we've come to get to see the nucleus. The nucleus is known as the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains the cell's DNA, which stores the genetic information. The nucleus directs the growth, the metabolism, and the reproduction. Inside the nucleus is called the nucleolus, which helps produce the ribosomes. Since the nucleus controls the cell's activities, it is one of the most important organelles. Next, I'll explain how the cell gets its energy. And in this slide, we talk about how the cell gets its energy, also known as the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. They produce ATP, which is the cell's main source of energy. The mitochondria has a double membrane, and in the inner membrane, it's folded into structures called cristae. These folds help increase energy production during cellular respiration. And because cells need energy to survive, the mitochondria are essential for life. Next, we'll talk about the ribosomes. The ribosomes are responsible for building proteins that the cell needs. Proteins are important for things such as growth and repair and everyday cell functions. Ribosomes can float freely in the cytoplasm, or they can attach to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, also known as the rough ER. They are made of RNA and proteins and are found in large numbers in all cells. This leads into the next organelle, the endoplasmic reticulum, also known as the ER. Endoplasmic reticulum, also known as the ER, comes in two different forms, rough and smooth. The rough ER is covered in ribosomes and help fold and modify proteins before sending them to the Golgi apparatus. The smooth ER makes lipids and hormones, and it also helps to detoxify harmful substances and stores calcium in some cells. Both types of ER help the cell build and process important materials. Even though these organelles are small, their jobs are very important. And even though organelles are microscopic, they have big responsibilities. Each organelle plays a role in keeping the cell alive. And if one organelle does not function properly, it can affect the entire cell. So next, I'll talk about how materials are packaged and sent through the cell. The Golgi apparatus modifies, packages, and it sorts proteins and other materials in the cell. It adds labels or signals so proteins know where to go. The Golgi apparatus works like a shipping or packaging center for the cell. It forms vesicles that transport materials to different parts of the cell or outside of the cell. Some of these materials include waste, which is handled by lysosomes. Lysosomes help break down waste materials in old or damaged cell parts. They are also filled with digestive enzymes that help clean up the cell. So without the lysosomes, waste would build up and damage the cell. So they help protect the cell and keep it healthy. Another structure involved in transport is called the vesicles. And vesicles are small membrane-bound sacs that transport materials throughout the cell. They deliver things like protein, lipids, and waste to different areas. Vesicles work closely with the Golgi apparatus and the endoplasmic reticulum to move materials efficiently around the cell. And finally, I'll summarize what we've learned and discussed on this PowerPoint. And in summary, the cell has many organelles, each with a specific job. They all work together to keep the cell alive. The organelles include the cell membrane, the nucleus, the mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, both smooth and rough, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, and vesicles.